It is 10:14 a.m. and I have one trade with SYXX, and I want to see if this 35 person will ever get taken out, or if people are just gonna, I guess, get tired of it and it just downtrends. But I think there's a chance that it might be able to break past it officially, an uptrend. I did consider SYXX for a setup. It's now the third big red day, and I thought, it could wipe out a bunch of sellers with all the volume, and then as you can see, a lot of selling price action, and then ideally it can try to make a move towards VWAP. It hasn't been able to do it, and I think it might be able to, but it also might just fail because there has been a big seller at 35 with like 1 or 2 million shares, and the moment it looks like it's about to get taken out, it comes back with more shares. And I was in at 951 at 35, so that was right here. I got in at 35 because it was just taken out. The big seller at 35. Well, actually, I got in exactly, just to prove my point, 34 and a half right here, this one, 15,000 shares. And as you can see, 951, that was the same minute. And it eventually came back. And then the big seller again showed up. Is it going to actually do it this time? Even if I'm not a part of it, at least, there we go, big seller back at 35. That is crazy. I got out at 10:04 right here at it was 34 and a half. This is a break-even trade. It just wasn't able to get above 35, and it just tried right now, but as you can see, the big seller came back, and I think people are going to get tired of this and they're going to eventually leave unless they're able to break past it. We just had some volume at 34. Yeah, I think people are just getting tired of this. Because this is maybe like the fifth time it has come back. Unless it tries to do something lame and just briefly get under and then come back. No, now we have a million share seller at 34. And we just broke the day low. This is now the lowest point of the day at 33 and a half. I'll make an update as to what this one does. I did look at GTII. This one was interesting. This could have been like a head and shoulders buy. So like a shoulder, it makes the head. And downtrends hold support here. And then the idea is that you're going to buy, that little dip before it makes the right shoulder. In best case scenario, it doesn't make a right shoulder. It breaks a day high like it did here. This could have been a setup I could have taken. And OWUV, I was also watching this for a while. It did eventually turn around, but the way it did it was pretty ugly, and now it's back to trading with a spread. So obviously, if I can find a setup that isn't trading with a wide spread, I'm going to pick that over OWV, which is what I was looking until I saw this one with SYXX. I think I tried, break even trade. I didn't make or lose anything. I got out at the same price I got in. And yeah, it seems like right now people just got tired of that big seller that kept coming back at 35. I'll make an update later. Okay, it is 8:03 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I'm going to be up and down, I guess, $0 on the day. It's a break-even day, but it wasn't like the other break-even day that I had this week because this was, just two trades where I got in and out at the same price, and the other one was just interesting that I happened to make the same amount and lose the same amount to cancel out and be a break-even day. I had two tries with SYXX and it just didn't work out. The first one right here did not work out. It just took too long and then it downtrended, although I guess I did try to blip, and I think I had that recorded before it then eventually sold off because there was always a big seller at the ask at 35 and it just wouldn't lift off. And then I did try it again here and I got out ultimately at 1040. It did work eventually at this price point, although it did have a few dips to a lower level, but it held a round number of this 30 sub penny level, and it eventually made a move to 37. So it obviously worked out eventually, but I don't know, maybe I should have been trading something like this when there were other stocks like GTII, offering much better price action and setups and everything. A little scary because the way it has a bunch of gap ups here and there, and it, is a bit wild, but at least it is in theory a lot better to trade. And this is interesting. I don't see this happen too much, but something that breaks the uptrending trend line and then it downtrends, and then it tries to get above it and everything, but it actually ends up holding it again and it starts bouncing off of it. This is actually really aggressive and really positive bullish price action. And I was watching it here when it broke past this day high, because it looked like an ascending triangle breaking the 390 level, and it just had a little blip right here and then it sold off and I stopped looking at it. It did break officially past it much later, so that was cool. And yeah, maybe I should have just been more aggressive looking at better setups instead of trying to dip buy something that doesn't have to bounce. That's pretty much it for today, break even day. And yeah, I just wish I traded GTII more or focused on that instead of SYXX. And OWB did do that, turn around eventually, but again, the price action wasn't that nice. I guess better than SYXX definitely. That's all I have for today.